Hi, my name's Billy. I read books, and from January 2025 through to the end of June 2025, I have read, or at least started, 21 books. And in this video, I'm going to rank them for you. Yes, it's 21 books. I'm going to rank them from those I DNF'd up to 1 star, 2 star, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to try and keep it brief for each one, because if I talk about it too long, we are going to be here for hours, maybe days, possibly weeks, I doubt months. So we're going to start off with DNFs. I've DNF'd 4 books so far this year. The first one was John Jake's North and South. There's nothing wrong with this book whatsoever. It's too big about a subject in a genre I just wasn't feeling. It's about American Civil War, which generally I do have a bit of an interest in, but I don't want to read an 850-page book of tiny text. That's book 1 in a series. I was finding myself in a reading slump, so I DNF'd it. Just as I DNF'd The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. But this is just absolute pie-in-the-sky nonsense. There's no other way to sugarcoat that. I know it's a very famous book and lots of people like it, but I know you have to suspend your sense of disbelief. But even with that, when something happens, and you're just thinking, that's just stupid. That could not happen. Why would that happen? In this world that you've created, which I'm having a bit of trouble buying into in the first place, but you've just done this thing now, and that is absolutely ludicrous, because with a little bit of thought, your entire world that you've built just falls down. And the minute that happens in any book, in any genre, at any time, I'm out. So I was out of that book. DNF'd A Crown for Cold Silver by Alex Marshall. And now I thought when I started reading this, I had found the next big thing. I was thinking, why is no one talking about this? This is amazing. This is like Joe Abercrombie. It's like I'm reading another book. It's like Joe Abercrombie's writing in a pen name. But sadly, it just lost its way. And the interesting part of the story, the characters I was interested in at the start, just lost track, started going off on side characters who were boring. Stupid things started happening, modern day stuff started creeping in, and you could just tell there was certain agendas in this book that were wanting to be put forward that I don't want to read about in a fantasy book. I read this stuff so I don't have to think about real life stuff. I'm more than happy to engage with stuff in the real world when I'm in the real world, but when I'm reading fantasy or science fiction books to get away from that, the minute it creeps in, that's me gone. So out I went. Just as I ditched The Magicians by Lev Grossman, magic school training for no reason, no plot, dislikable characters, got to halfway, nothing was happening. See you later, I've got better things to be doing, I am afraid. So those are the books I DNF'd. I gave 2 books 2 stars. I didn't give any 1 star, it's very, very rare I give a book a 1 star, but I gave 2 stars. Now, one of them was called Even If By Fire by Kevin W. Bates. And because on a whim, I got this for free a long, long time ago. Don't know why. Read the synopsis. Very rarely do that, but I thought, I've no idea why I even got this. Sounded promising. Hardly anyone's ever read it on Goodreads or anything like that. Give it a go. Interesting premise. Executed not very well. 2 stars. And possibly my biggest disappointment so far of the year is Fate of the Argosi by Sebastian de Castell. The final book in the final trilogy at the end of the Spellslinger series he did. I don't know why he wrote this extra 3 books, or why he chose to write them the way he did, because it was just depressing, predictable, not fun and not enjoyable, which is, I read other books to read miserable, depressing books. Sebastian de Castell is normally someone who's fun, witty, charming, interesting, imaginative. None of that whatsoever. So 2 stars for that. I gave two 3 stars. The first one was is this a prequel novella? The Fall by Ryan Cahill. This is like the beginning entry novella in the Bound and the Broken series. It's perfectly fine. Absolutely perfectly fine. I've got no criticisms about this whatsoever. It's just, I don't care about what's happening because I don't know any of the people involved. It's like 100 mile an hour, non-stop action, fighting, and yeah, okay, I'm happy Ryan Cahill can write, but that might be a book I need to go back to after I've read book 1, because it might have a bit more relevance to the series as a whole. Also with 3 stars was The Fountains of Paradise by Arthur C. Clarke. I recently put out a spoiler-free review for that. Written in 1979 about the building of a space elevator. It's just you wouldn't know that if you read the first half of the book, because it's not talking about a space elevator. And that was one of the issues with it, really. First half of the book was relatively pointless, in my opinion. So, yeah, 3 stars for that. Now, how many 4-star books have I given? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 4-star books. Here we go. Children of Memory by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Well, no, it's not the final book in the Children of Time series, because I understand the 4th one is coming out. Good. I enjoyed it after I'd read it. There's a narrative structure in the way he structures the story that really didn't get on with. I wish he hadn't done it, but by the time I'd concluded the book, I could appreciate what he'd done. 4 stars. Oh, how do you pronounce this? Matt Damon. I don't know how you pronounce that, by Daniel Suarez. This is like a high-tech thriller written in, I think it may be about the early 2000s. So if you're reading it in the early 2000s, this would have been like dead futuristic, whereas now it seems a little bit lame and tame. It was okay. Got a bit silly towards the end, but I didn't know this was book 1 of 2. There's going to be a follow-up because the story didn't get resolved. And yeah, it was good. It was interesting enough, but I don't feel like I need to. I'm not invested enough to follow on how that story is going to end. Master of Sorrows by Justin Call. I've still not done the spoiler-free review for this. I need to, because I really like this, and it was just let down by the ending. Really, it's a traditional fantasy tale with a bit of a training school, except there's actual plot and other stuff going on in it, unlike The Magicians. I'm not a big fantasy school setting kind of guy. I don't particularly like that trope. Didn't mind this. The character work was really, really good. The world building was really good. It reminded me in a way of how Robin Hobb crafted Bookkeep in the Farseer trilogy. It reminded me a little bit of that, the way it was being done. And bearing in mind, this is Justin Cole's first ever book. The ending was a bit of a letdown though. However, it sets up book 2. It's almost like he just wiped the board clear a bit and then ready for book 2 to start, which I didn't particularly like. Otherwise, that could have been a 5 stars. Sailing to Sarantine by Guy Gavriel Kay. This is book 1 in the Sarantine Mosaic. That's what it's called. Crikey, I should have made some better notes. In the Sarantine Mosaic series. Now, taken as a whole, the entire series I give 5 stars to. This one, taken on its own, because it's the first book of a duology, 4 stars, maybe even 4.5 looking back. Very, very good character work, development, world building, setting everything up, ready for the events of book 2 to take place. How do you pronounce this? Flowers of Esthelm by Pirate Arbor, book 3 of The Wandering Inn. Everything I expect of The Wandering Inn. The whole world is getting bigger, the characters are getting more detailed, more is being shown to you. There's like the fog over the entire continent is expanding and revealing more stuff. It's just 3/4 point of the book. The story just took a massive turn and went off doing something else almost, which it was good enough, but it was like, where's this just come from? Why have we just had this big twist like that? So 4 out of 5 for that. Possibly the biggest positive surprise of the year so far was The Hair Carpet Weavers by Andreas Eskbach. This is a small book. It's a standalone science fiction book, a one and done intergalactic planet hopping space opera that starts off where you think you're reading a traditional bog standard trope filled fantasy story, and you're thinking, I'm sure I will sell this as a science fiction book. Very, very good, very thought provoking, and no one's watched my spoiler-free review, but go and watch it because it's a book you will really, really want to read when you've heard my review. Savage Run, which is book 2 in the Joe Pickett series by CJ Box. This is like a mystery stroke thriller series I've heard about from watching Brian Lee Durfee's channel. It's about a gamekeeper in Alaska, Utah, Colorado, I don't know, somewhere in America where there's lots of animals and you're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's small town America, and there's lots of like wildlife crime. Now, I appreciate this is sounding pretty lame when I'm talking about it, but it's got a little charm to it, really. It's nothing earth-shattering. There's not going to be like some amazing mystery that you're never going to work out, and it's really, really well done. It's just different, and I like it. I like imagining myself there in this part of America that I can't remember or really envisage other than what I've seen on the TV. It's a big, long series as well. I keep on keeping my eye out for book 3. If it ever gets reduced in price on Kindle to like 99p, because I'm a tight so-and-so, and I don't like parting with my money. But so far, I've not seen it. When I do, I'll read it. Revelation Space, Alistair Reynolds. Science fiction. I've not got to book 2 yet. And partly that's because I can't really remember what happened with this book, which is not a good sign. I was invested with it when I was reading it. It felt like work. I couldn't just like sit and enjoy the read. I felt like I was having to work through it. Well written, makes me think, can't remember much about it. Need to get onto book 2 to try and refresh my memory, because this is a really well-known series. Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman. Recently just read that. Very, very good. Dark fantasy tale. Very, very imaginative. Lots of things going on in it. It was going to be a 5-star read, but it kind of lost its way a little bit at one point before picking back up again. Now, randomly, book 2 that's out is actually a prequel to this. So he's gone, this book 2 should be coming out, but instead he's done a prequel. It's going to get you up to the Black Tongue Thief, and then I imagine book 2 will come along from that. But anyway, I'll read that as and when it comes out. And then the final 4-star book I read was The Maleficent 7 by Cameron Johnson. Horrible, nasty people, stroke creatures, stroke orcs, who used to be together, now banding together many years later to fight the big bad that's threatening to swamp them. They have to come together in an unholy alliance. They all hate each other, all want to kill each other and murder each other, but they have to put all that aside, or do they, to fight off the new bad guy. And it's funny, it's violent, it's crude, it's offensive, and I had a good time with it. Now, 5-star reads. I've read 2 5-star reads, and this is probably because I'm pretty stingy with my 5 stars. I imagine other people would have given quite a few of those that I've just spoken about in the 4-star category 5 stars, but I've not. So the first one was Robert McCammon with the book Mine. This is not for everyone. In fact, I didn't think it was going to be for me to start with, because it starts off with one of the most appalling opening scenes I think I've ever read. It's to do with, I'm not going to go into what that appalling scene is too much, but I think you might be able to get a gist of what it was when I talk about what the vague summary of the plot is. Crazy lady used to be a domestic terrorist when she was younger and part of a group, and then they've all split up and got older, except she's still crazy, and she still harkens back to those days, and she always wanted to have a kid with the lead person in that group, but has never had one. So she likes stealing children, and if those children don't particularly get on with her, well, I'll leave the rest to your imagination. But horrific start, but then it settles down a bit, and the story continues along, and you follow along with this awful character. And I was hooked to the page. It is a literal definition of a page turner, where you think you know where the story's going to go, but you're not 100% sure. And I didn't think I'd be giving this a 5-star. As I was reading it, it was starting off as a 3-star, then it slowly worked its way up to 4-star, and then by the time I'd done, I was like, wow, that's actually had an impact on me. 5 stars. Because that's my criteria for 5 stars. Has it had an impact on me? Yes, it has. 5 stars. Just like Lord of Emperors by Guy Gavriel Kay. This is the second book in the Sarantine Mosaic. The best ending to a book I've ever read. Literally comes together in the last couple of pages of everything you have read. in the 2 books leading up to it. It all just knits together, comes together in the most, I'm not going to say wonderful, I'm not going to say beautiful, because this book is not, well, it is wonderful and beautiful, but not, the content of it all isn't wonderful or beautiful, but the way it's done, the way the author has weaved it all together, to pull it together just in those final few pages was just fantastic. And that series as a whole, that duology, the Sarantine Mosaic, as a whole, 5 stars. That book on its own, it's more than 5 stars. It's fantastic. And those are the books I've started, DNF'd and finished in the month, so far in the first half of 2025. So let me know what books you've read so far. What was your best book that you've read? What's the worst book that you've read? And let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi, my name's Billy. I read books, and from the start of June 2025 to the end. Come on, this isn't hard. This isn't hard. Just say your name. Say you've read some books. It's 2025, January till June. You can do this. You can do this, come on. So yes, 21 books. I'm going to start off with those that are DNF'd and then work my way up from those I rated 1 star, 2 star, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to try and keep it as brief as I can about each one, because if there's 21 and I talk for a long time about them, we are going to be here forever. And I've got things to do. No, don't say that. Don't say that.